It was a quiet afternoon in a small town Brad Pitt had never planned to visit. On a rare break from his packed schedule, he found himself wandering down a cobblestone street, drawn to its charm and old world atmosphere. The shops lining the street seemed untouched by time, their faded signs and wooden shutters exuding a sense of nostalgia. Brad paused outside a small antique store, its window cluttered with an eclectic mix of trinkets and treasures. Among them, a photograph stood out, a black and white image of a family from decades past, framed in gilded wood. There was something about the way the family posed, their expressions a mix of pride and solemnity, that drew him in. He stepped inside, the doorbell chiming softly. The air smelled of aged paper and varnished wood, evoking memories of simpler times. As Brad approached the photograph, he felt a strange pull, an unshakable sense that this was more than just an ordinary relic. The man in the center of the photograph bore an uncanny resemblance to him. Was it coincidence, or was there a deeper connection waiting to be uncovered? Brad couldn't resist the mystery. The shopkeeper, an elderly woman with a kind face, noticed Brad's interest. She shuffled over, her hands clasped in front of her apron. "Caught your eye, did it?" she asked, her voice tinged with curiosity. Brad nodded, lifting the frame gently. "Do you know anything about this family?" he asked, his tone laced with intrigue. The woman squinted at the photograph, then smiled faintly. "That came from an estate sale years ago. The family was local, the Pitmans. Good people, I heard. Farmers, mostly." Brad turned the frame over, his heart skipping a beat as he read the faded inscription on the back. Pitman family, 1912. The resemblance between himself and the man in the photograph was too striking to ignore. He felt a surge of curiosity, a need to learn more. The shopkeeper pointed toward the corner of the shop, where an old wooden box sat collecting dust. "There might be more about them in that box," she said. Brad thanked her and carefully opened the box, revealing letters, faded documents, and a journal that seemed to hold pieces of a forgotten life. With the photograph and the box of documents in hand, Brad left the antique shop and headed to the local library. The librarian, a cheerful woman named Clara, greeted him warmly and offered her assistance. Together they sifted through census records, property deeds, and newspaper clippings, piecing together the story of the Pitman family. The documents painted a vivid picture of a hard-working family who had once owned a thriving farm on the outskirts of town. But their fortunes took a turn during the Great Depression. A series of crop failures forced them to sell their land, and the family's traces seemed to vanish after that. Brad was struck by the parallels between their struggles and the resilience his own family had shown in difficult times. As he studied a handwritten letter from the box, he felt an emotional connection to the words, "No matter where life takes us, our roots will always guide us." It was a sentiment that resonated deeply, fueling his determination to uncover the full story. The next day, Brad drove out to the location listed in the old records. The journey took him down winding dirt roads, the landscape gradually shifting from bustling town to open fields. When he arrived, he found a sprawling expanse of land where the Pitman farmhouse had once stood. The foundation of the house was little more than crumbling stones, overgrown with wild grass and scattered wildflowers. Brad wandered the property, his footsteps crunching softly on the earth. He could almost hear the echoes of the past, the laughter of children playing, the steady rhythm of a hammer building a barn, the quiet moments of a family sharing a meal. Near the edge of the property, he discovered a rusted mailbox with the name Pitman barely legible beneath layers of dirt and rust. He knelt beside it, running his fingers over the faded letters. The moment felt profound, as if the land itself was whispering its story to him. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting golden light over the field, Brad stood in silent reflection. This wasn't just about history, it was about connection, about honoring the legacy of a family who had worked tirelessly to build a life here. Back at the antique shop, Brad shared his discoveries with the shopkeeper, who listened with fascination. After a pause, she disappeared into the back room and returned holding a small wooden box. "This came with a photograph," she said. "I thought it might interest you." Inside the box were letters written in elegant script, each one a piece of the Pitman family's story. Brad carefully unfolded the letters, reading about their dreams, struggles, and unbreakable bonds. One letter stood out, a heartfelt plea to a distant relative. No matter where we end up, let's promise to keep our family's spirit alive. The words struck a chord in Brad, their message timeless and universal. As he read, he felt a deep responsibility to honor the Pitman's story. These weren't just artifacts, they were pieces of a legacy that deserved to be remembered. Determined to honor the Pitman family's legacy, Brad reached out to a genealogist who helped him uncover more about their descendants. The search led him to a woman named Evelyn, a retired teacher who lived just a few hours away. When Brad arrived at her modest home, she greeted him with a mix of curiosity and excitement. Over tea, Evelyn shared what she knew about the Pitman family. She showed Brad an old quilt stitched by the Pitman matriarch, family photographs, and a journal filled with daily entries from the early 1900s. They were remarkable people, Evelyn said, her voice tinged with pride. Together, they pieced together the family's story, discovering connections that spanned generations. Evelyn recounted tales of resilience and perseverance, painting a vivid picture of the Pitmans' enduring spirit. As they talked late into the evening, Brad realized that this journey wasn't just about uncovering the past. It was about creating a bridge between history and the present, ensuring that the Pitman legacy would never be forgotten. Brad knew he needed to do more than just uncover the Pitman story. He needed to share it. He decided to purchase the land where their farmhouse had once stood, envisioning it as a place where their legacy could be celebrated. Working with local historians and community members, Brad planned to create a memorial garden and a small museum dedicated to the Pitman family. The project quickly gained attention with donations and volunteers pouring in to bring the vision to life. On the day of the groundbreaking ceremony, Brad stood before a crowd of locals, descendants of the Pitman family, and history enthusiasts. Behind him, the photograph of the Pitman family was displayed prominently, a testament to their enduring legacy. "This isn't just about honoring one family's story," Brad said, his voice steady and heartfelt. "It's about reminding ourselves of the strength and resilience that shapes us all. It's about preserving history so future generations can learn from it." The crowd erupted into applause, their enthusiasm a reflection of the power of connection and remembrance. Months later, the Pitman Memorial Garden opened to the public. The space was a harmonious blend of history and renewal, with vibrant flowers, walking paths, and plaques detailing the Pitman family's story. Visitors wandered through, reading about the family's journey and reflecting on their own connections to the past. One afternoon, Brad visited the garden, walking among the rows of flowers. He noticed a young boy standing before the photograph of the Pitman family. "Who are they?" the boy asked, his voice filled with curiosity. Brad knelt beside him, his voice gentle. "They're a family who taught us that no matter how hard life gets, we can always find a way to grow and stay connected to our roots." The boy nodded, his expression thoughtful. As Brad stood and looked out over the garden, he felt a deep sense of fulfillment. What had started as a chance encounter in a dusty antique shop had grown into something far greater, a living tribute to the resilience and strength of a family that refused to be forgotten. It wasn't just their story anymore. It was a story that belonged to everyone who visited this special place. And so, what began as a simple photograph turned into a journey of discovery and connection. Brad Pitt's quest to honor the Pitman family reminded us all that history is not just about the past. It's about the stories we carry forward and the roots that ground us. Thank you for watching this heartfelt tale. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible Hollywood stories. See you in the next video.